right out of the gate, race 1 at Riverside, Dad doesn't give them any choice but to talk about him. He's running well enough that they're surprised by his performance, especially on the West Coast at Riverside, a road course, first time he's ever seen the place. He goes to Daytona and, has a great Daytona Duel to qualify into the race, and obviously in the Daytona 500, right? I mean, he's running great, and there was this race in '78 at Atlanta at the end of the year where he runs in the top 5 that everybody remembers, but they didn't expect to see him come into the season right away and duke it out with some of the veterans. And so right from the very start, MRN and all these journalists and broadcasters in our sport have this new rookie that's sort of outperforming what they expect, out of the rookie class. And so he has a great story. Dad has this great connection to Ralph Earnhardt, and everyone in the sport knows his name, but they are still shocked by that performance and his ability to go out there and be good right from the start. My favorite stuff about the Daytona 500, obviously, are just things that I didn't know. I've watched that race over and over and read and saw documentaries made about it. I mean, we've been told about this race, all of us, right, for years. And even having said that, diving into some of the stories and articles, being able to find details that I didn't know. Dad's car developed a problem late in the race that I didn't know anything about. It really helps me feel better about his end result because he'd been running so good, leading laps, running in the top 5 all day, and didn't finish anywhere around the leaders. And so there were some stories about what happened to Richard Petty the night before the race that were interesting. There was some stories about, Cale Yarborough's ride home from Daytona, and it was kind of comical. Just things that would help you appreciate the characters in the story, and obviously everything that preceded that, the fight between Cale and Donnie and Bobby, and how they sort of put on a front for the media going forward. Now they did get along, but they still were there was still some animosity and hurt feelings. But they put on a front for the media and for NASCAR to alleviate all the pressure that NASCAR was putting on them with fines and probation. And so and how all that worked out was hilarious. There's some really funny stuff that happened to Cale. Cale and Donnie and Bobby have an accident early in the race, and that got the embers burning, right? That set the stage. That's what made the end fight happen. There was already this anger and frustration. It's so funny. Those guys are so hard-headed that they run another 400 miles and they're still pissed about what happened, 50 miles into the race. They're like, they're arguing over that and end up fighting at the end of the race after crashing out. And they were all so dramatic, and just really that racing, those cars, was their entire world. You know what I mean? And everything mattered. And they were all dynamic in their personalities. And all of those dynamic personalities really clashed. Being all forced to be in this universe together is like, they bounced off each other figuratively week after week. You cut me off. I'm mad about this. I'm mad about that. And they would go into the media and just lay it out there. They didn't even hide their frustration, animosity, or just disdain for each other in their comments. They were just put it out there. It was a small, in their mind, it's a smaller world hearing these remarks, right? There wasn't Twitter and social media, and everything they said didn't get blasted out to thousands of people. So they would sit down with a reporter and be like, yeah, that was messed up what he did. I didn't like it, and I thought it was a dumb move. Because they think, well, this guy's going to write this article, and only a couple hundred people are going to read this, and yeah, the guy's going to hear it, which I want him to know exactly how I feel. But it ain't going to cross state lines, or much less go across the nation. But in this year, the sport was really changing, really growing, really magnifying and multiplying in fan base, and ticket sales started really. Ticket sales skyrocketed after the Daytona 500. Fans wanted to go see round 2, race. As we go through each episode, there's comments about how well things were going for promoters, track owners. The sport's really seeing this incredible rise, due to the notoriety it gained after the Daytona 500. Hey, if you like that video, like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another piece of Dirty Mo Media content.